Hi, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be looking at why your website doesn't sell. So when you sell on Etsy, of course, Etsy's got plenty of traffic baked into the platform. 90 to 100 million customers frequenting the platform means plenty of traffic for you to sell your products to. But on your website, it can be an absolute nightmare to sell anything or get anything going. So let's have a look at the top 5 reasons why your website doesn't sell, and I'm going to be offering you ideas and solutions to counteract those problems. And the first one, of course, is no traffic. Now, everyone knows this, right? Everybody knows this. No traffic. It's the bane of small business owners' existences when it comes to websites. But we've got to understand why there is no traffic and what the solutions are to combat that problem. So there's no traffic is simply because there is no way for anybody to find you. So there's no way for people to find your website. You know, thinking nowadays that we can rely on on-page SEO, search engine optimization for your website, it's a thing of the past now. It's something that, when it comes to e-commerce, is really, really not where you should be thinking. You need to get a lot more creative when it comes to bringing traffic in to your website. Now, one of the things that I want to point out here is if you sell on Etsy, right? You sell on Etsy, and no, you're not allowed to directly send customers to your website. Of course you're not, right? But your marketing, okay, your marketing does need to go to your website, right? So when in your packaging, in your messaging, when you're sending something to a customer, or a customer is downloading a product, you need to make them aware of your website so that they can go and make future purchases from there. I don't mean directing customers off of the Etsy platform when you're talking to them. That you're not allowed to do. But in your marketing communications to your customers, you are quite allowed to tell people about your website. You've got to get traffic from somewhere. And the easiest place to get traffic from is your existing customers. And this applies to any platform. It's the same thing with any platform that you sell on that has customers. They all have their rules and regulations and you have to abide by them. But we've also got to get traffic. Another form of traffic that you can use is advertising. But you've got to be very careful about advertising, because if your website isn't up to scratch and your products aren't up to scratch, you're going to waste money on advertising. And you need to understand where your customers are when it comes to ads. So traffic, you know, when it comes to ads, where are your customers? Where are they based? Where would you be spending your advertising dollars to find them? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it Google Ads? Is it YouTube ads? Who knows, right? But you've got to find out where your audience is most likely to be. For example, millions and millions of people use Facebook, but it's notoriously difficult to get your ads working on Facebook to find who you need to target. That's the difficulty, and that's where money gets wasted. So you need to think about where your audience is. You know, where are they hanging out? So number one is no traffic. I've given you some ideas there on how you should look at gaining traffic. Don't rely on search engine organic traffic anymore. It's not enough. It takes too long. E-commerce websites normally don't have as much information on them as information-based websites, so it's much harder to get traffic. The second thing, and this I've just mentioned it, related to why traffic isn't coming in. It's poor products. Your products just aren't good enough. The delivery of your products is not good enough. The photography, the video, the sales copy. Poor products. So many people build websites just trying to do print on demand or trying to do drop shipping. Most people attempting this are going to fail dismally. It's such a well-worn path. So many people are doing it. And even if you don't drop ship, right? And you don't do print on demand, often your products aren't good enough. They're just not good enough. You haven't checked thoroughly enough against your competition where you stack up. So if someone does find your website, which is hard enough as it is because of the problem with traffic, if you get people to the site, are they going to buy? What are they presented with? What's the value proposition to these customers? Often the standard of products is not good enough. If the products are good enough, it's the photography and video letting you down. So you've really got to do the research and see how you stack up against dozens and dozens of stores that are competition for you. Get a really good idea. Ask yourself what your USP is, your unique selling point. What is it about your products that no one else has got? What do you do better than anyone else? You've got to give people reasons to purchase from you. Poor products is number 2. Number three, yes, this is a huge one. No social proof. So this is basically no social proof around what you do that people like what you do, right? So this is where social media comes into play. I never tell people to use social media to try and sell your products. I tell people not to do it on Etsy, and I'm telling you not to do it here with your website. Don't use social media to sell your products. Use social media to build your brand and gain social proof. That's what social media is for. And you'll have a much easier time building followers around your brand and what people think of you and think of your products than trying to sell to them. Don't even bother trying to sell to people with social media. Use it to build that connection so that when people go to your website, they feel like they know you and they feel like they can trust you. That's what this is about. Get social proof. Most new starters, growing businesses don't have this. So you can see how this is building up into a sequence of problems as to why your website doesn't sell. Let's get to number 4. Number 4 is very straightforward. No advertising, right? You've got to make sure that you're considering some form of advertising with your website. And as I said earlier, think about where your audience is, but also consider what types of advertising there are. There's so many ways to advertise. Free advertising on sites, I think it's like Gumtree, Craigslist, things like that. Traditional advertising, so catalogs, magazines, newspapers, radio advertising. There's so many different ways to advertise other than Facebook, Google, Instagram, YouTube. You've got to get creative. Think where your market is and then go to that market and find out where that market is spending its time reading, listening, going to, right? For example, I'm looking at billboards at the moment. I'm looking into billboards for advertising my consultancy. It's something I never considered before. And maybe you should consider that as well. I don't know. But there's millions of billboards all over the world, electronic billboards that are a lot cheaper than you would think they are. And that's an amazingly creative way to advertise. Amazing. And I'm looking into that. And probably some of you will now that I've mentioned it. It's a really good idea. So looking into that. So find a way to connect to your audience in an advertising method, but think outside the box. Don't just look at the traditional 3 or 4 online ways to advertise. Get out there, look and see how you can advertise. You never know, you might find a hidden gem of advertising that works for you. Number 5. Yeah, I touched on this earlier and I'm going to talk about it again. I always talk about this for so many things. Poor photos and video. I can't stress this enough. If you've worked so hard to get people to your website and then they see dull, washed out, grey, cut off photos, overexposed, underexposed, you know, all these basic issues you have to solve. You have to solve them. So get yourself some decent lighting, get a decent camera or a decent phone. A decent phone will do it. And then take quality photos, edit them afterwards to make them look professional. The number one problem you've got with all of this is trust. You have an inherent trust problem. Why should they trust you? Why should a customer trust a random website that you've put up? It's really tough for a customer just to think, yeah, okay, I'll spend $30, $50 and know that they can trust you and that the product that they've ordered is going to arrive. So photography and video, it goes such a long way to instill trust in the customers that are visiting. We've got to take every opportunity we can to make the customer believe that you are their best bet for the product that they're looking for. And this is something you control. You absolutely control photos and video. And you do have to spend money, and you do have to spend time on it, and you do have to get resources to make this photography happen. It might be a studio, it might be lighting, right? It might be props. Yes, you've got to do it. You've got to do this work because the people that are making money, they are doing these things. So let me know what you thought of these 5 factors that stop your website selling. Let me know if any of these are you. And also, as always, if you want to work with me on your Etsy store, on your website, don't guess, don't wait, get in touch with me. The Booking Now button is coming up on the screen. This takes you to a booking page for a free one-to-one discovery call with me so that I can advise and guide you on how I can work with you in paid consultations or mentoring to further your Etsy business. I look forward to catching you in a consultation and catching you in a comment. Cheers.